begin with the question and answer part of this. What we've done is we've set up 2 mics. I brought 2 names out of the silver jar here. 2 people will be asking the question initially. With a show of hands, 2 people can respond to the question. When we run out of names in the jar, put the names back in and keep going. We'll try to keep the crosstalk to a minimum if possible. Okay, so the first 2 people up. Sean Gullion. Don Benson. Okay, the first question, gentlemen, and Sean, you'll respond first, is how do we involve residents in the decision-making process for our community?
By asking them, ask directly. I wanted to, if I had time, to go door to door, write names down. This person suggests this, this person suggests that. I just haven't had the time to do it, but asking them directly, voting.
Because this would be more as to if you were elected and you're on council, how would you involve the residents in the decision-making process?
How would I involve the residents in the decision-making process?
Yeah.
I'd have to get in first. I'm not claiming that I know every answer to everything. It's just.
Don?
Yeah, I believe that anybody in council should be approachable. And I think a real good idea is have an open house, meet with the public once every 6 months or so, get their input so you can deal with matters that are important to each individual. Thank you.
Anybody else care to respond to that?
I can respond a little bit.
Everett and Jesse.
I guess 8 years sitting on council, it's still sometimes a problem to reach out to the community. I know council, we are approachable and we do get feedback from a lot of the residents in the community. One thing that maybe a little bit of discussion on was the recent info that we were gathering in regards to the beach and the survey that we put out. We actually did discuss it today in council about maybe finding better ways to reach out to the community and doing a community census like that, sending it out in the mail and stuff like that. Council discussed it. We weren't aware of what was going to happen in that situation like that, but finding ways to better reach out to the community, and the census was a poor way of doing it. And from mistakes like that, I think we learned how to approach community a little bit better in the future and work with community members to try to get input from everybody. And then as for community forums and stuff like that, we have had them in the past over the last few years, but with the pandemic, it's been hard to reach out with community where you have a community hall gathering, get input from the people. But hopefully with the pandemic maybe going on the decline in numbers and all that, we can return back to having community engagements and having more people from the public come to the halls and stuff like that and voice their input to council, and hopefully we can resolve issues from there.
Okay, thank you. Jesse.
Yes, I think everybody here at the tables and most of the community has seen me either at Jesse Mart or at the Liquor Shack, forever behind the till. And that's where, providing I'm not in a council meeting or a council session, still be. So for anybody, if they ever wanted to have a councilor that they could directly approach, I would still be behind the till. I would still be at the Liquor Shack or Jesse Mart or Cannabis or any of the other stores that I'm at, and I'm approachable at any time. And from Wednesday to Saturday, I'm on a shift every day, like I said, provided I'm not doing council affairs. And it would make it so that people would have a direct line. They don't have to say, oh, what is this guy's cell number? What is this? How do I get a hold of him? Can I contact him on email? Will he get back? They walk into the store and they can find me. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. Larry? Mike? Okay, your question is, how can we get on firmer financial footing in this municipality? Mike, you want to-
Well, I think we want to reduce costs. We've seen, when I first moved to Wabasca, I often heard, don't worry about the costs, the MD has plenty of money. But over the last 7 years, we've seen that things can drive very quickly. And so we need to be more fiscally prudent with the money that we have. The taxes that we collect are needed to run the MD, and that should be done efficiently, and we should always be looking to lower costs. As far as contracting out services, that's a good way to go. I agree with the recent decision to have longer terms of service, but I think 3 years is a bit extreme. 1 year is not enough. I would have settled for maybe 2 years.
Thanks.
What was the question again?
The question is, how do we get on a firmer financial footing in this municipality?
I think we have to start making some wise choices. We shouldn't be able to be building, again, old age homes that we can't afford to run at half capacity. We're going to build another one in Calder Lake, and it's always the ratepayer that's got to get stuck with it. You know, we have to be a little wise. I know they're all done already. Golf course is done. We can't afford it. Maybe, you know, the last meeting we had here, I think it was a year and a half ago, I brought that up. Now that it's done, let a private industry come in and run it, and hopefully they can take a profit. Otherwise, it's going to be sucking all the taxpayers' money just to run that operation. So it's going to take all of us. Maybe if we're going to put up a building, let's get a plebiscite. Let the taxpayers decide if we can do it, if they want it or not. That's probably about the only choice we have.
Thanks, Larry. Is there 2 follow-ups? Darlene, and since we heard from you last time, Everett, anybody else? If not, Everett.
Can you,
The question again is, how do we get on firmer financial footing as a municipality?
My take on that is, like you said, we've got to look at different ways we can reduce spending. But I'd also like to bring up the fact that the MD this year is running a surplus. We have 30 million in reserve, and we're running at a 32 million surplus at the moment, and it gives us 4 months left. That being said, last year we were in a $2 million deficit. That was due to COVID and from the long-term care facility. But I still believe we need the long-term care facility, and we're turning it over to Wabasca Family Housing Authority January 1st, and I think everything will elaborate on that.
Everett?
question one more time, please.
How do we get on firmer financial footing as a municipality?
Okay, in regards to that, I know a lot of people were saying that we run a deficit and all that. Maybe I'll explain it a little bit. In 2020, we anticipated our revenue being at about $60 million. We ended up collecting about $64 million through taxes, through industry and residents. We budgeted $70 million, so technically, we budgeted a deficit. But again, like Darlene said, we did have a surplus of over $30 million in the bank. Through fiscal responsibilities over the last few years with council and administration, we were able to bank 30-some million. We took money out of the surplus to balance the budget so that we can implement the $70 million budget. Year to year, we've always topped up the deficit from administration being accountable and actually not spending exactly what they budgeted. So the last 5 years or so, we've always had about 30 million in the bank. So with that, we continue to balance the budget every year. As a municipality in the Municipal Government Act, we are not allowed to submit the deficit to the province, and we never have in the past, and we never will. Some of the things that we've done to change that was privatization of the clinic. Again, that saved us hundreds of thousands of dollars. Also, with the long term, we did go with the third-party operating agreement on the long-term care. That alone, we anticipate a $2 million operating budget from the province. Again, that could be put back into our surplus. And several other options that we have on the table to do that. So we've been balancing the budget every year. I know operating has been higher than revenue coming in, but also every year we don't spend as much as we budget. So technically we do run a balanced budget every year. Thank you.
Robin? Since we haven't heard from you enough, Everett.
Just stand there.
No, it's a fly. Okay, question that's been coming up a lot, both in the media and around the community. Are you in favor of COVID vaccines being required for MD employment?
I can start off now. I believe everybody has a right, constitutional right, to get the vaccination, and I'm not scared to say it. I'm currently vaccinated, my wife's vaccinated. I promote vaccination as much as we can. MD, we try to message the positives of being vaccinated. We put in the vaccine passport to get into our facilities. When it comes to staffing, I have a firm, I believe that people have a constitutional right. It's something, not everybody's going to agree on, but I think you should have a choice on whether you want the vaccination or not. I think it's our job as council and the MD and to get the messaging out there of the benefits of getting the vaccination. And hopefully people start seeing the benefits of it and how it's actually saving lives and not tying up our healthcare system. It's unvaccinated people right now that are majority of the people that are sick in the hospitals, and I think over 90% of them. There's a lot of positives in getting the vaccination, and I hope within the next couple months, I think right now we're at 70%, maybe a little bit higher now, but hopefully within the next couple months we get up to that 80-90% vaccinated. Thank you.
Robin?
Thanks, Dave. That's a great question and a tough one. I know we did implement the vaccine passports for our rec centers and community halls. But as far as implementing a mandatory vaccine for staff, I really hesitate there. Like Everett said, for us to force people to get vaccinated, I don't think is the right way to go. We are looking at getting a rapid testing machine and looking into the cost of that and the possibility that what we may do down the road if I get back in is anybody who isn't vaccinated may have to get tested every 72 hours like the province is doing with their staff. Not sure what the cost of that is going to be, but it's something we're looking into. But to force somebody, I really don't want to go there if we don't have to.
Thank you, Robin. Stonewall. Anybody else would like to respond to this? Jason?
Well, I am also vaccinated, and I also believe in the vaccinations helping, as we can see. And, what I don't agree with is the mandatory mandatory vaccinations for people to go inside our facilities, and yet the people working there, they don't have to be vaccinated. Well, that's hypocritical, you guys. You know, either you can't have both ways, you know, especially like our seniors. Our seniors are vulnerable, and yet the people there don't have to be vaccinated. That is crazy. Where in the province, they are have to be vaccinated. What, you know, so you guys are hypocritical. Vaccination cards for people who walk in, but unvaccinated for the people who work there. Doesn't make sense. Okay, thank you.
Jason?
So for vaccinations, I am vaccinated. My family's vaccinated. All my eligible people in my family. I do have a young one who's not vaccinated. It's one of those situations where I believe that everybody should be and have a vaccination just for the safety of my children, safety of everybody's children. I do believe in the facilities, the workers should have their vaccinations. It's one of those things where if we all have to get it to come into come into the facility, we should have, those workers should also be vaccinated. It's important for us to protect our children and protect the young ones. Those are the ones who are using most of the facilities right now. And again, for the vulnerable people, the elderly. I also, within the industry, there's a huge push for people to become vaccinated out there. I do feel for the people that haven't gotten vaccinated and believe that they're waiting for the proper information to come out. You know, this COVID situation is a real event. It's not something that's been made up, and it's not a conspiracy. You know, it's something that I believe is really affecting people here at home. We lost a few people here in the community, and I feel really bad for those people. My condolences to those family members, those people who lost their family members. Like I said, it's a serious situation that we're in right now, and I do believe that within the MD, I do believe we should get a COVID vaccination roll on. For everybody that is associated with people or with the general public, they should be vaccinated. Thank you.